go up. We're actually getting less in each department than we were 8 years ago. You know, we're just getting less. So maybe we, as that digest increases, we can give some of that back and get it at least back to the standard that we had before. But that's just the dilemma that we have, you know. And unfortunately, and I appreciate every one of you coming. I really do. I appreciate you because you obviously want to understand, and I hope that I'm articulating somewhat to you what the dilemma is on this side, because we have to take all those things into consideration. And it's a complex issue. And it's an issue that when we make a decision, I was very serious when I said sometimes nobody's happy with it. You know, they're just going to look at the little negative piece that affected them negatively and not look at the big picture and say, man, this is really a pretty good situation. It's a very good situation. So, anyway, just hearing what for me to vent. But by golly, I appreciate the opportunity to let me do that.
Now one more question, Billy. So we've got the expenses and the income on here, but where would I find, like, what's in the overall budget? Like, is there like I have a savings account and a checking account. Where do I find a full budget picture?
Overall budget picture.
Yeah, like in this general fund. So for example, you've got, maybe I just don't understand how it goes. You've got an inter-fund revenue, you've got a fund balance. Like when you have a fund balance, it goes into the general fund, or do you zero out the budget every year?
Fund balance can be referenced in a couple different ways. Let me distinguish the two that I'm familiar with. One that is current year fund balance. There's fund balance that will happen as a result of this particular budget year.
Right.
So if you budget revenue and it comes in as it's supposed to, and your expenditures are a little bit under, then you're going to have a fund balance. You're going to have some left over at the end of that year. That's what I'm referring to as this current year fund balance. And then you have reserves, which is also commonly referred to as fund balance, which is money that you may have accumulated over some time.
Okay, that's what I'm asking about.
Okay, now you can get that from this audit right here. This is an audit. And what we have, and you'll see, if you get that audit, you'll see that, we have probably above average fund balance or reserves. But I'll tell you that reserves have been stable. In fact, since 2008 or 9 when I took office, I think it's changed 0.4%. It can change a little bit more than that from year to year, but over that same period of time, that's the reserves that was there. I assume that's what the people wanted, and that's what we left there. It hasn't changed. It hasn't gone up. Well, it has changed. It's changed by 0.4%. It may go down by 0.4% next year. There's a lot of contributing factors to that, Captain. You can get that information here. But the way that is maintained, the way I have chosen to maintain stability there versus to grow that or shrink that, is if we do have current year fund balance, we put that back in as a revenue source for the subsequent year. Right. Now in this case, we just figured out what fund balance you might have for 16. You can put that into 18, you can put it in 17, you're in the middle of 17 budget, so it's actually a 2-year lag, and that's going to create a little bit of oscillation. There's no way to do it perfectly, but what I have demonstrated is if you do that, if you take your current year fund balance and you put it in the subsequent year as a revenue, then it will provide a stable overall reserve. And that's what we've done.
And what happens with that, like, what is that reserve used for, if ever?
That reserve, well, first of all, you got to consider what all's in that reserve. You got some of that's committed. Some of it's committed. Like if we get LMIG funds in this year, we can't spend that till next year. Okay. Right. So that's restricted. Okay. The unrestricted, if you think about when this audit, the snapshot of when this audit takes place, it takes us a few months. We have to wait a couple months for money's bills to come in, pay stuff out. We move all that back. Auditors come in. They adjust all that out, but the snapshot is in the fiscal year, which is the same as our calendar year. That's also 10 days after property tax collections. Yeah. So you get a pretty good. You're going to see about the best situation you can have right there in terms of revenue. The rest of it, I mean, anytime we have a catastrophic situation, like when we had the floods at the end of 2015, December 30th, 2015, we got some federal help. They committed for some of it, but it had to be fixed. We had to pay for it. and we could have borrowed money if we didn't have any reserves, but you can use it for that. There's other things, but what you gotta be careful about is committing those non-reoccurring revenues, which that's what that is. It doesn't replenish every year, it's just stable. So it's non-reoccurring. You don't want to commit reoccurring expenses to pay for with that money, because it'll just shrink and go away, and then you'll have a millage rate increase. Does that make sense to you?
In other words, those are strategic reserves.
Yes.
If you were in business, you'd call them strategic reserves.
There is no law that says what you should have.
Yeah.
There's some recommendations, but you know, some have more than we do, some have less, some have negative. They have to actually borrow money to pay payroll with TANs, with tax anticipation notes. So that's how bad it can be. We're happen to be on the good side. We're commended for that every year. But again, I don't know what the right number is. I know what number I inherited. That's the number I feel like I need to have until there's a policy that says otherwise. And you know, that's, look, I could blow that. It's unrestricted. I could convince the Board of Commissioners to spend that money and blow that money and make myself look really, really good. But I don't think that that's proper. In fact, I don't even think it's ethical. So, you know, again, until there's a policy that's approved by 5 members of this commission that says do otherwise, it should stay stable. And the way we stabilize that is take that any fund balance and we put it as a revenue source for the subsequent year. Does that make sense to everyone?
Billy, I just wanted to make a comment about growth. A lot of people think that growth is a good thing, but it's a two-edged sword. You know, if you have businesses coming into the county, providing jobs, the other side of that sword is that the families that come into the county typically do not live in properties that generate enough taxes to even educate their children.
It's rare that you have someone move here that pays enough taxes to educate their children.
It takes about a $300,000
So when you're talking about residential growth, Don, it's certainly counterproductive.
Right.
Especially especially, I mean, under no circumstances is it ever productive, but especially when it's 13 miles away, you have to take a school bus that far to get it.
Yeah.
Or he has to respond that far with a deputy's vehicle, or we have to respond that far with an ambulance.
Right.
You know, and they're gonna go to Walmart shop and get the sales tax, spend the sales tax dollars there. And not here, so we can get back and help subsidize that loss that we're incurring. And you know, so that's been recognized, that's been preached. People are grabbing hold of that and understanding that, and you know, part of that has to be addressed via policy. We need to have what residential growth does occur. We need to encourage that to happen toward the center of our county where our infrastructure is and where they would be inclined at least to spend their sales tax dollars. And it would be convenient for the school system,
Right.
for the sheriff's office, for the E911, the recreation, or whatever.
Most of the development, though, is going to be right on the Clark County line.
But it's gonna be if you don't recognize that and do things to encourage it, and I hate to say discourage it from being there, but encourage it to be here. If it's gonna happen. You know, and then, and only then, and what comes first, the businesses or people? I suggest to you, it's gonna gotta be the people. If you don't have the people to go to the restaurants, they're not gonna put the restaurants there. Right. You know, I think Tom has demonstrated up here with Oak Tree Plaza that we are in a threshold. One of the things Amy Stone has done as our economic development director is gone out and looked and see what businesses could make it right here toward the center of this county that would be successful. And we're going out and contacting them and say, you know, demographics says it will work here based on your criteria. And get them here. And when they get here, then maybe more people will be encouraged to come, and we will have sidewalks to the school that kids don't have to get on the school bus. And you know, we will have people shopping here, and we'll generate that sales tax money. We generate just shy of $700,000 a year per penny. We're losing 59% of the average somewhere else. You know where that's at? It's in Athens, Clark County. Just a high percentage of it is. You know, so that's. If you take that 700 multiplied times, you know, 2.5, that tells you how much we would have if we were getting all that back per penny. That's for the school and the 2 for the county. You know, millions of dollars we're losing every year. We know the problem, and the solution is not short term, But understanding what the problem is and working on policy that helps fix that problem is where we're at. It doesn't go unnoticed. I mean, your point is valid, but it is complex. It's been considered, it's been debated, it's been pursued, and, you know, it's not overnight, but we are trying to get there. And as that revenue can come in, that's more revenue. It doesn't have to, everything doesn't have to happen around here for property tax, you know, and it shouldn't have to happen that way. But, you know, there was, I guess, lack of vision. I hate to say that because I don't want to throw off on anybody else, but lack of understanding years ago that had it been looked at a little bit differently, we might not be in the situation we're in. And we got to balance that with some of the comments you made earlier, and I agree with, is we don't want to be Oconee County. You know, there's ways that we can make that happen. If we really wanted to, we probably could make that happen, but we don't really want to. I mean,
There is a middle ground between Oglethorpe and Oconee. There's a middle ground.
there is,
You
but
don't
Mary,
have to
it
do
is
one or
not
the other.
defined. It is not well defined. And
No.
one of the things you said, Don, too, and I hear it all the time. Well, we need growth. I've heard growth 2 times tonight. Yeah, all growth's not good, but the problem is the definition of growth. I think that's the better question. What is, well, first of all, is it quality growth? And what is quality growth versus poor growth? Things that are gonna cost you. I think we've got a pretty good idea of what that is. You know, I think we do, and I think the people have become enlightened over time. I think more and more will. And thank you, Diane, for what you do right there, because I think more people will see that as a result of this, and they'll understand it. I think what we've talked about here, everything that's been said here today had some merit. And the more people that can hear it, the better we can understand it, and the better we can lead. Boy, I didn't need to get on that stump. I really didn't.
I want to just say one thing, that if we're getting police to patrol this big county for less than $15 an hour, that's a steal.
Yes.
You know, the people are protesting because they want to flip hamburgers for $15 an hour, and we're getting trained professional people put their lives on the line for less than $13 an hour. I wish we had the money to pay them more.
Yes, indeed.
I certainly do. I wish we could pay everybody more. And that is part of our goal, but we gotta have it before we can get it. You know, and we have, and that's all I'm saying, we have. That's been the objective. We have done that, and you can do it. And honestly, and I said it before and I'll say it again, that's that fellow's objective too. You know, it's yet to be seen whether that's gonna happen, but it is his genuine objective. Well, I feel like we had a burn. Has anybody else got any questions?
I have another,